While you've been on your points and miles journey, has it crossed your mind how do these credit card companies make so much money? Especially in this day and age where travel hacking and points and miles is now a community. Like it's way bigger than what it used to be when people just kind of collected miles and maybe at most just redeemed them through the travel portals of the respective institution. And now we have this YouTube community and there's so much education out here. Has it crossed your mind just how do these credit card companies make so much money? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how. And not only that, but if you stick around for the full video, I'm going to give you 2 surprising ways that credit card companies make a significant amount of money. And even further, I'll give you an example of just how much these credit card companies might make off of you. Let's get to it. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Mike's Travels and Cents, where I go over points and travel strategies, and more importantly, how not to go broke while enjoying it all. If that sounds good to you, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss future content. And if you find some value in this video, smash the like button to let me know you enjoyed it. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the video. And the first way that these credit card companies make money off of you, and this one is no secret, and that's interest charges and late fees. Now, if you look at this diagram, wherever I decided to put it when I edit it, you'll see that interest charges is the biggest category where these credit card companies make a whole lot of money. But this is kind of only in the short term, and later on in the video, you'll see why this is the short term. But it's still a pretty big chunk of change. And then further down that diagram or box or table or whatever you want to call it, you'll see that $12 billion come from late fees. So that's just people not paying their bills when they're supposed to. Tisk tisk. But I have no room to judge. I've been there. Second, and we have annual fees, which should come as no surprise. You know, it's pretty obvious. The more credit cards you have with annual fees, the more money they're making off of you with those annual fees. Though it's pretty marginal, especially because, for one, I think a good number of people aren't really willing to get credit cards with annual fees. And two, it's there's so many credit cards out there without annual fees that this doesn't really account for the majority of credit card users. The next way these credit card companies make money is the interchange fees or merchant fees. Now, this one is the one that really gets talked about the most in the YouTube sphere, especially in the points and miles community. And you'll see, going back to that Motley Fool table, and you see that's $42.4 billion. That's a capital B for billions. Those 2 to 3% charges really add up for those merchants, and you can see why these companies make a whole lot of money off these interchange fees. And not only that, but why they almost want the American dollar, like the paper money, to go away just so they can start getting more money from these merchants. And they make a lot of money off this stuff. All right, so we are down to the last 2 ways that credit card companies make money off your blood, sweat, and tears. And this one we're looking at is probably one of the lesser known ones, but I think it's starting to get a little bit more attention, and that is selling your data. More specifically, the things you spend money on. So for one, credit card companies, they sell your data to, just regular companies that want to advertise certain products and stuff to, they call it target marketing. So if they think you're the kind of person that'll buy their products, they buy this data so they can target their advertisements to that certain demographic. This is how you think, your phone is always listening to you and stuff. But part of it's true, but part of it is also because they just have so much damn data on you. The next thing that doesn't get talked about, is that these credit card companies actually sell your information to hedge fund managers. Yep, that's right. Those number crunchers on Wall Street are paying big bucks to get your information. And what they do with this information is they pretty much watch it in near real time, so they get to refresh the spending every 30 minutes or so, and they use this to kind of gauge where the market is going. So like, if they see a whole bunch of people are buying stuff at Walmart, they're gonna start moving money towards Walmart because they're predicting that stock is gonna go up because consumers are spending more money there. Now, all of this stuff, this basically spend data is part of a larger group of data called alternative data. And this is pretty heavy as far as, kind of just a mesh of data, especially things like robo investors. They kind of use alternative data and a couple other things when they're just investing your money. So this alternative data is a really big thing. It's really important to investors and hedge fund managers and whatnot. So it's not going away. And as robo investors get even bigger and more in popularity, you're probably going to see it more and more, and it's probably gonna get more and more expensive. Sorry if you just heard that was not me. I'm not gonna put her on screen, but yeah, that was her. But yeah, so that's another way that these credit card companies make a lot of money. All right, so here we are at the final way that I feel like talking about that credit card companies make money off of you, and that is by investing your debt. Now, I know you might be thinking, like, what? Invest in my debt? That doesn't make sense. Hear me out. This is something I learned about as I started on my financial journey, separate from my points and mouse journey. But anyway, it's part of this thing called the credit theory of money, which basically equates debt and credit. So debt is in some way a credit, and credit is in some way a debt. Let me give you an example. Let's say I borrow $20 from you, right? Now, I have $20 because you gave them to me. And so what you can do is, instead of just waiting for me to give you back $20, what you can do is go to Vanguard or wherever you want to invest your money with, and you can go and invest $20 that you will have but don't currently have. But you can technically make the investment now because you know it's coming. So you can go and invest that $20 that you know is coming, and then collect interest off of that money, even though you don't have it yet. And then when I pay you back your $20, then that kind of completes the loop. And now you actually do have that $20, and you can basically just profit that interest. So banks basically do this, but in the millions and billions of dollars. So when you swipe your credit card and it's a debt to you, it's money that you now owe, let's say if it was Chase, it's now money you owe Chase. And even though it's technically money that they just lent to you, it's now money that they know that they will have. So now they can invest that money and gain interest off of it. And then when you pay it back, you just fulfill the loop, and your money is the principal, and they get to collect the interest off money that you've borrowed. So it's almost like, thanks, Nami. So it's almost like when you swipe your card, you're receiving a loan, but you're also giving a loan to the bank. The whole credit debt theory, that's where that comes from. And yeah, I know that's a way that doesn't really get talked a lot about, but credit card companies make a lot of money doing this. And this is why a company like American Express, whose flagship cards are charge cards, which you're not supposed to have late fees or interest charges, because they have a different clientele they're marketing to. These people aren't racking up late fees or interest charges, which it has to make sense. I showed you the table earlier. Why would American Express forego what could potentially be their largest profits with just like all the other banks, but instead they have their charge cards, which they market to a higher clientele, because they want them to put large amounts of spend on these cards so that they can invest that money. That's way better than just collecting, late fees and interest charges. I'd rather have somebody that's going to be basically giving me $100,000 loans almost every 2-3 months than somebody that's only going to be paying me like $40 in late fees every once in a while. That's the difference. So yeah, that's kind of how they do it. They take your money and they invest it, and yeah, it's a pretty big deal. At least for them. So just know that they're not settling for the 2 to 3% that they get off merchant fees, even though that's pretty significant as well, as I've shown earlier. But being able to invest your money and possibly get 10, 12, Even 20%, depending on what they're investing in, is pretty huge and it's pretty significant. But now that we got all the ways that these credit card companies make money, let's get into an example so we can put it in view. All right, here we are, example time. I know it's everybody's favorite time, right? You get to look at pictures and stuff. It's my favorite time. But anyway, so we're looking at the American Express Platinum card, which again is a charge card. So this way we don't have to assume anything about late fees or interest charges, because the people that this card is specifically for also don't have to worry about late fees or interest charges. And we're looking at this from the consumer view. So right off the bat, we're gonna look at this from year one. So this is gonna include the bonus and everything, right? So that annual fee is going to be $550 that you have to pay. Bonus spend requirement, $5,000. So you're going to be spending that to get the bonus. And then the sign up value. So if you do hit that bonus, and I'm being very generous here, I'm giving you the 100,000 membership reward point offer, which is going to be worth about $2,000, assuming you redeem or can get at least 2 cents on average for your redemptions. And then annual spend, we're looking at $30,000 all travel. And this is under the assumption that this card is in the hands of somebody that the platinum was actually meant for. And if you don't know what I meant by that, if you watch my previous video on why the American Express Platinum card probably isn't for you, I'll put that card somewhere up there. I'm not going to say I'm going to put it in the description because it probably won't happen. But yeah, so I'm assuming that $30,000 is all travel, and that's going to get you a whopping 150,000 membership reward points. And again, giving you 2 cents per point value, that is going to be $3,000. And that total profit is going to be $4,450 in your first year of having this card, which is really, really good. So now we're looking at American Express Platinum card from American Express's view. So obviously that $550 is going straight to American Express. That bonus spend requirement, that's in yellow because that's essentially a loan that you're giving American Express when you spend that much money. That goes back to the whole debt credit theory thing. So that sign up bonus value, I'm putting that at $1,000. Now, I know it's $2,000 from the consumer view, but you have to remember that as far as American Express is concerned, these points are only worth 1 cent per point. So it's up to you to get your 2 cents or however many cents per point, but that's not on American Express. Like, it doesn't make them have to issue out more points because you get a better redemption. Just like they don't, issue out less points if you, redeem it for some gift card, which is a terrible, terrible redemption. But anyway. So that annual spend is another $30,000 loan to American Express. Points from spend, so that's going to be 150,000 membership reward points. So from American Express's perspective, that is $1,500 in credits that they have to give to you. Again, that's at 1 cent per point, even though it was $3,000 on the consumer's view. So that merchant fee profit, so from all that $30,000 and that $5,000 you use for the bonus spend, that's going to net American Express about $1,050. So total consumer spend, you've given them a $35,000 loan over the course of the year. And so assuming they invest that, and I was very conservative with these percentages because I don't want to overestimate what these banks can make off investing your money. But realistically, I really believe that they can do better than the S&P 500. I just don't think banks are, investing in index funds. But anyway, assuming a return of 7% off of that off of all the money they've collected off of you, that is $2,562 in profit. Now, interest from spend, if it was 10%, would be $3,660. So subtracting the points, that 1,500 and that 1,000 that they gave you, so that 2,500, you're looking at a total profit of $1,662. And this is the first year for American Express. And so you might be thinking, what? $4,450 is way better than $1,662. I am beating the bank. But this is your one, and that does account for the bonus that you also got. And I was very generous with the 100,000 membership reward point, which drastically increased what you would be getting in the first year. So mind you that this isn't going to look like this for year 2 or year 3. And even if you try and adjust it by spending more, you're still giving American Express more of a loan to make more money. And not only do they have this $1,662 in that first year, but that money grows exponentially because it's invested. And then they get to continue investing all the money you spend on this card for as long as you have it, not to mention your annual fee. So, yeah. You beat them in year 1, but that's it. And not necessarily beating them either, because they make a profit. So even though you got $4,450, you still didn't take it to the bank. And not saying that because you win that American Express has to lose, but just realize they're okay. They are very much okay with you not paying interest fees or interest charges or late fees, because they are still winning. In fact, I believe that this is partly why your credit scores are so important. Now, if you have a very high credit score, that means they know they're going to get their principal and they can invest in something that may be a little bit more risky, versus if you have a low credit score, they have to invest in something a little bit more safe, which means their returns on that investment is going to be significantly lower. So again, this is why credit score is so important, because they can invest money based on how well they know you're going to pay them back. But yeah, that's the video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you got some value. Hope you learned something new. And if you did, get the conversation started in the comments below. And just remember, the only thing more valuable than your points is your money. And the only thing more valuable than your money is your time. But until next time, peace.